Hello and welcome back to the Pup and Away podcast for another wonderful episode. My name is Steph. I am the pro dog mom, but most importantly, I'm a certified dog trainer, canine behaviorist, and canine nutritionist in San Antonio, and the very proud owner of Pup and Away, where we specialize in pet care with a behavioral edge, and even more so, we have lots of different socialization programs because socialization is on a spectrum, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. So, while there are many models of dog socialization scale, we like to talk about one that categorizes dogs into 4 different categories. This is really important to know because less than half the dogs that we meet at work at Pup are the type of dog who actually want to socialize and that will thrive socially in a daycare environment. So let's talk a little bit about just kind of some terminologies and kind of just set the picture, right? Dog daycare, what is that? I want you to take a second and think about what you think about whenever you picture dog daycare. You probably envision like a big area with at least 12, 13, 14, 15 dogs. Maybe you're visioning like a whole big field with like 60 dogs in it. Every company does it a little bit differently. But it's really important for us to understand that this is not normal for most dogs, and being in an environment like this is normalized for us as people, but from a dog perspective can actually be really tough. And when we have at Pup and Away, we do an orientation assessment, and if and when we tell a client that their dog is suited for any program other than this traditional idea of dog daycare in their brain, they think their dog is broken, and that's not the case. Less than half of the dogs that we meet would thrive in that sort of environment, which means more than half of the dogs that we meet do better with the socialization program that's a little bit more tailored or designed for them, which is why we have a regular daycare. For us, that's a group of up to 12 dogs per one person. We base them or we separate them by size, temperament, and also age. And then we have what we call our tailored play program, emphasis on the tailored play program. And this allows for our TPP techs, tailored play program techs, to give our doggy clients the exact socialization that they love. Maybe they just want to play with a person and do fun things like water hose play with bubbles, play tug of war, do enrichment activities. Maybe this dog loves to wrestle, but they can really only play with one dog at a time. So again, not a group, but one dog at a time. Maybe this dog can be with multiple dogs, but for whatever reason, maybe overstimulates or gets more nervous the more dogs that we have in the group. So 6 may be too overwhelming. So of course 12 is going to be overwhelming. Maybe they would do better with a group of 3 or 4 dogs. So whatever that looks like, every dog is different, and more than half of the dogs that we meet would do better in something other than this traditional idea of daycare that we have. So again, let's talk about this model of doggy sociability that puts dogs into 4 different categories. Now, the first category is quote unquote dog social. This dog absolutely loves to meet other dogs, wants to play with any dogs, and does not know what a non-friend is. Every dog that they see is like, hello, my name is Stephanie, let us be best friends. I kind of get the picture of like Doug from Up in my brain, who he's just like happy to meet anything and everything. And, even though he meets the, pack of dogs that's technically with the villain, he's like, yeah, let's be best friends. So this is what everyone thinks that their dog is. That's not the case. What percentage of dogs do you think actually falls in this category? Is it 60? Because it's lower than that. I kind of gave it away right earlier. I said less than 40, right? I kind of gave it away earlier when I said less than half, right? Is it 40%? Nope. It's even lower than that. It's estimated that only 10% of dogs would fall into this category of dog social. Only 10%. Now, being dog social you love everyone, you want to meet every dog, doesn't automatically mean that you're perfect fit for daycare either, though. So of course, I threw another wrench in there, right? You're like, oh, this only 10% of dogs are good for daycare, right? Because social dogs are the only types of dogs. No, even some social dogs may not be suitable for daycare. While these dogs love to play, sometimes their play style is a little bit rude, over the top, or just simply inappropriate. And this is an opportunity where training can take place, because with our help of our trainers and of course the help of very tolerant daycare dogs, we can teach this dog how to initiate play and then to maintain a safe level of play. So that's dog social. Loves everybody, but may have an inappropriate play style. The next category of dog socialization on the spectrum is dog tolerant. Dogs in this category get along with most dogs and will either play or remain neutral. They will play with some, they may coexist with others. It's like how you kind of have a close circle of friends with whom you share all your secrets and tell about your day, but you're also still socially polite to other people that you've just met. Now, about 40% of dogs land in this category. This type of dog would still make a really great addition to daycare, but they may not want to be there as often as their pet parents may need them to be, or they don't want to be there that long, or they also just might get a little overwhelmed at some time because this is just too many dogs, right? I can be social, but not that social, right? So that's dog tolerant. The third category is dog selective. This type of dog has a few close friends, but doesn't really enjoy meeting new dogs. And of course, there may be a new dog where just, oh my gosh, I am very interested to meet you. But for the majority of the time, they do not want to meet any new dogs. They aren't really polite around these other new dogs. They might not even just simply coexist. Instead, they may snap at or avoid interactions with anyone outside of that little close circle right there. So this kind of dog is definitely not suitable for daycare, because daycare is full of more dogs than just as their inner circle, right? So it's really hard for this dog to have a new dog come into the program, to even come into that group specifically just for that one day. They have a really hard time being okay and accepting that dog. This type of dog is also known to start tiffs or fights with dogs outside of their inner circle. Doesn't mean that they're going to for sure, but they might start tiffs or fights with dogs outside of this inner circle. Unlike the previous category, who would that would still tolerate and coexist with others. So for this type of dog, I usually don't recommend training, but instead a shift of expectations from the parents. This dog would do better and even thrive if the pet parents would accept that their dog's socialization preferences are different from what the pet parent has in their mind, and allow us to give their dog what they need versus what the pet parent wants for them to have. Another 40% of dogs land in this category, which is why we decided that we needed to have more than just regular doggy daycare, and that's why we invented the tailored play program. Now, the last category is dog aggressive, and here about 10% of dogs land in this category. Now, this dog doesn't have many friends in their inner circle, if any, and makes some pretty big displays of behavior that they do not want to be around other dogs. This type of dog may or may not start fights. Just because you have a dog aggressive dog, this is just in terms of sociability, right? When we talk about the word aggressive, it just means I want space from. Like, I would just rather not. If a dog walks into the room, a dog aggressive dog may either become reactive and confrontational, or a dog aggressive dog may also just say, peace out, bro, I'm going somewhere else. I don't even want to be in the same room with you. Those two things look very differently, right? A dog aggressive dog doesn't necessarily have to be forward and rude, mean, nefarious about it, I guess. And unfortunately, some dogs who are dog aggressive and don't want or like or enjoy being around other dogs, but who don't make very big, mean gestures about it, may still end up in daycare because, well, at least they didn't bite anybody, right? Or their request for space is manageable and not one that is going to cause harm to another dog. So this dog sometimes accidentally passes into daycare when they're not liking it, they're not enjoying it, they're not thriving, maybe they're stressed about it in some sort of way, they're just not liking it. So as a society, we need to normalize other socialization activities besides just regular group daycare that you think about when you hear daycare. One-on-one play, dog to dog, smaller group play can be just as beneficial, if not more so, for your dog if that's what your dog wants. It's like having a group of core besties instead of just having a bunch of superficial relationships that don't mean a ton. Like, which one to you do you think, for you personally, do you thrive more with? I find myself to be a very social, interactive person. I like to meet new people. Meeting new people is part of my job, but I get more quality time and fulfillment personally when I'm hanging out with my best friends, because those relationships are deeper and they're more meaningful. So if we find your dog a couple of besties, dude, that's totally cool. Like, let them thrive with that. Group play is not for everybody. Your dog isn't bad if they don't love group daycare. It means that they're normal, so it's okay. Now, that might be the end of the episode, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. Follow us online. We have quite a few social media platforms. You can find us on TikTok at Pup Pup and Away. You can find us on Instagram at Pup Pup and Away SA or at Steph the Pro Dog Mom. You can also find us on Facebook at Pup Pup and Away SA. If you are in San Antonio and want to bring your dog to us for boarding, training, socialization, or nutrition, come find us. But if you're not in SA, we do training and nutrition sessions virtually. Yes, they can be just as effective, I promise. Please rate, review, and subscribe to my podcast on whatever platform you listen on. And please, please, please share with a friend. The positive reinforcement of knowing people actually listen to this and find it valuable helps motivate me to keep recording. We'll see you guys at the next episode.